with 20 working languages, and this is where we talk about languages and language learning and all sorts of other stuff, and we play games. This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand translation project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time, and we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks. Perfect. Okay, 3 of 4.
El hospital
還元一級の先というのは、本当に誰も知らない字ばっかりでしょうね。私は Okay, we've leveled up and it is time to pick another language. Mordförrättare än vanligt. Maten är färdig. And let's see what we're doing when we get back. Greek. We're doing Greek when we get back. Ben neredeyse her gün okula giderim. Fun fact. Turkish. Hello, Shakespeare. How you doing? Fun fact, in Spanish, the word for bishop in chess is alfil. And that actually comes from Arabic. Fil. The same word fil as this. Meaning elephant, because the bishop traditionally was to represent elephant units somehow. Similarly, in Russian, the word for bishop is skor, and that also means elephant. Okay. This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand translation project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time, and we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks. Ça, c'est ça, que c'est ça, non ça, c'est ça, sol chi sa che nulla sa, ne sa più di chi ne sa. Ecco.
Bienvenue à Hyperpolyglotting avec Élise. Moi, c'est Élise, traductrice, éditrice et écrivain avec 20 ans de travail. Et ça, c'est la transmission en direct ou en jeu des jeux. Surtout GeoGuessr en dernier temps. Et parle des langues, de la linguistique, de l'acquisition des langues.
10-159. Haven't made a huge dent in it, but we're getting there. Okay, gonna do some Chinese now. Night. Night. Fun. Bien. Yo. 5. Ducks are drinking wine. Barbaz, okay, Barbaz is done. Okay, I have now leveled up. Let's see what the XP situation is now. 10,340 out of 12,500. And as always, viewers can choose my next language for me just with a follow and a $5 to my Patreon.
Sotto le frasche del capanno 4 gatti grossi stanno. Sotto 4 grossi sassi, 4 grossi e grassi gatti. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Facile. Sì, sì, ecco, la gente, è la cosa che mi dice la gente, sempre che scoprisce che quante lingue parlo, io sempre avevo l'impressione, diciamo, di che non era così, non era tan così, ma poi, dopo di aver visto qualche poliglota in YouTube, una delle cose che avevo scoperte era giustamente che la metodologia usata da quella gente poliglota che non avevo mai conosciuta prima, era più o meno la stessa metodologia che usavo io. I buy a computer or what? And yeah, and here's another example. I like to point these out. For this word for or, but sounds vaguely like Hogun and the Hok in Hogun in Korean or Waku in Japanese, and that appears it is the exact same kind of character.
Okay, let me see.
Un chasseur sachant chasser, ses chassés sont son chien de chasse.
Der dicke Dach.
Okay, der dicke Dachdecker deckt dir dein Dach, drum dank dem dicken Dachdecker, dass der dicke Dachdecker dir dein Dach deckt. Hola y bienvenidos al directo de Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. Yo soy Elisa, traductora, escritora y editora y comunicadora social con más de 20 idiomas de trabajo. Y aquí vamos a estar jugando videojuegos, sobre todo GeoGuessr, y hablando de idioma, la mejor forma de aprenderlo y caleta más. Zwei Zwetschgenzweigen zwitscherten zwei tschechische Schwalben. Tres tristes tigres tragaban trigo en un trigal en tres tristes trastos. Oh, I see. This is Diche Ishai Fui, which means, do you want food? But, yeah, are you hungry? That's also. How are the boys? Cocine tapón. Pozo milao. Pote. Duenese. Proteine. Utros. Protopolo. In the designated chicken-eating area, obviously. Hello and welcome to Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. I'm Elise, translator, writer, and editor with 20 working languages, and this is the stream where we're going to be playing some chess and talking about languages and language learning and all that good stuff. Looks like I just need to get a couple of things straightened up here. And if you like this music, I'm gonna link you in chat to the mix. This is La Mano de Filippi, one of my favorite bands from Argentina. As we get started on the chess, how's everybody doing, chaps? Hey Badger, how you doing? Okay, we got the black pieces. Estilaisten vastaan. One of the few national flags to take the bold stylistic choice of putting
black prominently in it. Okay, getting my usual reverse Phoenix set up here. So far, that's working out nicely. Glad you like it. Mano de Filippi, they are just a classic band in Argentina. Okay, I'm not sure what that queen's supposed to be doing there. I mean, yeah, I guess it's pinning my knight, but my knight, like, the only thing that's attacking my knight, even theoretically, is that queen, and a queen for a knight is a trade I'm happy to take. Okay, but we can get castled to safety and then see what this is. And we'll see what's up. Gente buena que no se aviva, Marioneta, son todas mías. Okay. Okay.
Amenaza de la Gaia, a esos que les gustan las murallas, les encantan los misiles, la matanza de civiles.
Okay. Up a piece, but this queen is kind of precarious. And so my goal is to harass this queen.
El que quede alguno vivo y en el futuro sea un resentido, usurpación de bienes y derechos, cárcel a cielo abierto más grande del mundo, son y muy duro, genocidas, asesinos, matan niños. ¿Cómo se lucha? ¿Cómo se lucha? ¿Cómo se lucha por el pueblo palestino?
Okay. Gotta figure out a good way to actually continue harassing this queen, because right now the queen is a little bit too comfortable. Shouldn't be, because it's undefended.
but it's also unattacked at the moment, and oh well, I'm glad I can help in that project. The Hermano de Filippi are a classic, but you know, outside of like the Southern Code, a lot of people don't know about them. Okay, there we go. Tenemos Guacosadita esa dama. Perfecto. And we got an open file here for our rook. I mean, okay. Ah, that is kind of what I was expecting. Okay. Okay, now I'm threatening mate because of this. Two pawns up, my opponent is right now. The conventional wisdom is that when you're down pieces, you should try to take pawns. Part of that is about getting a good endgame. Because the more pawns you take, the fewer passed pawns you can end up facing on the flip side of things. Oh, wait. Okay. Captures. Threats. Checks. Not seeing any, I just got... Okay, there we go. That improves things. Okay, I do have to worry a little bit about a back rank mate for the Mo. See what we can do about that. Meanwhile, I am way ahead on time against Tige Kalaux. And right now, this rook... Oh, and now the rook can join the attack. I was about to say,
right now, that rook couldn't have joined the attack. And because that would have been mate in 1. Okay, now we're back to queen harassment. Okay. 1 threat fewer to deal with. Oh shit! Okay, please don't notice that to get Gala. Because right now I have just left this rook totally undefended. That was a relief. Threatening mate. Okay, that's okay because right now that pawn is blocking the attack.
Si te enteras de hoy, será de capital. Si queda un puesto de laburo, seguro que estará por comer un
Conspiración internacional, revolucionaria contra el capital, contra los burócratas, contra la patronal, contra el Fondo Monetario Internacional. There we go. There was one chance right there for me to screw up and like give my opponent mate because of that pawn. So I had to take that. Even with 12 seconds left, that would just be the silliest way to lose. Okay. 10 minutes again. Super Funa. Okay. A ver si sabe lo que significa Funa. Okay. Internacional, revolucionaria contra el capital. Comunidad internacional. How's everybody doing, chat, as we try here to harass another queen? Hello, Emily's 1255, how you doing? Doing some monarch harassment. No, I don't think I've heard this one. Borracho 14. Oh, this is a new one for me. Okay, is there any way I can turn this into a discovery that actually helps me? Not currently seeing it.
Tantas veces la pasé muy bien por no tomar. No sé por qué no puedo ya parar la sed. A la mañana cuando saco el perro miro al almacén y me tanteo los bolsillos y pienso con un peso que podré beber. Con un besito pegué una birra y me fío un bordolino. Encima en casa tengo facito y encanutado otro pesito por si la sed me vuelve a atacar. Abrí la fresca por el camino. Llego a mi
Okay. Gotta take time a little bit more into account because I'm actually behind on time. No, that's no good. How you doing, Emily's? Move I'm worried about here is that. Because that ends up forking my rooks and giving a discovery that is kind of unpleasant. So, this way. And I've still got the bishop pair. So that's something. This song is one, even in Argentina, a lot of people think it's by a band called Bersuit Vergarabat, because they did a version too, but actually, La Mano de Filippi did the original version. It's called Señor Cobranza. Porque Menem se lo gana y no hablemos de pavadas si son todos traficantes. Y si no el sistema qué, no me digas se mantiene con la plata de los pobres, eso solo sirve para mantener a algunos pocos, ellos tranzan, ellos venden. Y es solo una figurita de que esté de presidente, que se estaba Alfonsina, que vende otros que son todos narcos y de los malos. Y si te agarran con un gramo después que te la pudieron, se viene la policía, de seguro que va preso. Sube la balanza, el precio también sube la... Okay, now we're roughly equal on time. That's good. And I think I have actually a little bit of an advantage here. Apart from... Oh... Okay, hang on, I gotta think about this a second. So if I take here, that's a free rook. But then this rook comes down, and I'm in a state of great awkwardness. So I can't do that.
What I do have to do, though, is figure out some way to get this annoying bishop out of the way, or at the very least, to create a situation where I have another escape route. Yeah, that would have been bad, because if I had if I'd taken that apparently free rook, it would have been, I would be exchanging a rook for the game, because that would have been made in like 2. Rather happy I noticed that. Oh, I'm glad. I'm learning about chess by watching me play. Okay, now, one problem I've still got here. So I gotta figure out the best way. I mean, I guess I trade. I guess if I trade, then we end up in a better situation here. Yeah. There. Oh, no, I can't do that. I was gonna try this with check, but the trouble is the rook just takes it, and then I've lost a, I've just given away a bishop for nothing. So that's not great. And for anyone who's wondering, anyone who likes this music, it's L'Hermano de Filippi, an amazing group, one of my favorites. You can find them on YouTube. Okay, so take this open file here. Oh wow, my time's at 4:20. Nice. Okay, going to try to take that previously undefended, but now well defended pawn. At the moment, I've got to keep this pawn where it is. Because that pawn is what's protecting this bishop. Okay, but this is sort of a neat little situation we got here. Okay. I'll try to see if I can get some action by taking that pawn here. Okay. Now, there's this pass pawn here, and I gotta watch out for that. That pass pawn can cause me some problems. I mean, I would say it's probably one of the main winning chances my opponent here has. Because that turns into a queen, and I'm kind of screwed because I'm not really in a position to promote a pawn. Okay.
Anoche fui a ver al Papa, pero me pegué un culé. Anoche fui a ver al Papa, pero me pegué un culé. Tan cerquita de la grada, me agarré de su sotana, lo dejé dando la misa en calzoncillo azul y grana. Tan cerquita de la grada, justo pise una banana, lo dejé dando la misa en calzoncillo azul y grana. Me cago a pedo el Papa. Yo solo quería verlo pa' pedir una gauchada.
Okay, that's what I wanted to see. Okay.
Solo quería verlo pa' pedir una medalla, pa' pedir una medalla. Que mi germo no se vaya y que nunca me descubran ni me quepa el traje a raya. Que no se me corte el curro, que no salte la cabrón. Que crean mis empleados que soy el mejor patrón. Que gane la timba, que gane los burros, que empiece Tinelli cuando me aburro, que nunca se termine la buena vida, que vivan los presidentes y la policía. Anoche fui a ver al Papa, pero me pegué un culete. Anoche fui a ver al Papa, pero me pegué un culete. Cuando me quise dar cuenta lo tenía al lado mío, retándome ante los fieles y a la estatua de
Okay.
Cuando me quise dar cuenta ya lo había desnudado, me estaba cagando a pedo, en calzoncillo rayado. Me cago a pedo el Papa, me cago a pedo el Papa. Yo solo quería verlo pa' pedirle una gauchada. Me cago a pedo el Papa, en calzoncillo a raya. Yo solo quería verlo pa' pedirle una medalla, pa' pedirle una medalla. Que no salte en mi muralla, que me cuide la policía con sus gases y metralla. Que no se me corte el viaje, que no tenga que volver. La gente mal y pretende que uno le dé de comer. Que crea que quiera venir a cobrar, que los patrones la pasamos mal. Que me cuiden la puerta, si me llego a olvidar, encima le doy laburo y me quieren robar. Anoche fui a ver al Papa, pero me pegué un culete. Anoche fui a ver al Papa, pero me pegué un culete. Anoche fui a ver al Papa, pero me pegué
Ah, fuck my mouse. No, that was a draw because of that would have been a win if I had more time. GG's. Okay, time for me to take a little bio break. I will be back in a few minutes. Hi, and welcome to Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. I am Elise, translator, editor, and writer with 20 working languages, and this is where we talk about languages and language learning and all sorts of other stuff, and we play games.
This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand translation project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time, and we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks.
Perfect. Okay, 3 of 4.
El hospital
還元一級の先というのは、本当に誰も知らない字ばっかりでしょうね。私は Okay, we've leveled up and it is time to pick another language. Morfar är tröttare än vanligt. Maten är färdig. And let's see what we're doing when we get back. Greek. We're doing Greek when we get back. Benedese. Herregud, Fun fact. Turkish. Hello, Shakespeare. How you doing? Fun fact, in Spanish, the word for bishop in chess is alfil. And that actually comes from Arabic. Fil. The same word fil as this. Meaning elephant, because the bishop traditionally was to represent elephant units somehow. Similarly, in Russian, the word for bishop is skor, and that also means elephant. Okay.
This is Elise with an update on the ongoing Inessa Armand translation project. We now have 37 of the 38 extant essays and speeches by Inessa Armand translated into English for the first time, and we are just short of the halfway mark on the fundraising progress as well. This enrichment of the English language Marxist canon has only been possible with your support, and it's been a real lifeline for me. So anyone who would like to support this project can find links in the description for how to do so, and everybody who has already supported it has my sincerest thanks.
Ça, c'est ça, ça, que c'est ça, non ça, c'est ça, sol chi sa che nulla sa, ne sa più di chi ne sa. Ecco. Bonjour et bienvenue à Hyper Polyglotting avec Élise. Moi, c'est Élise, traductrice, éditrice et écrivain avec 20 ans de travail. Et ça, c'est la transmission en direct ou en jeu des jeux. Surtout GeoGuessr en dernier temps. Et parle des langues, de la linguistique, de l'acquisition des langues. 10-159. Haven't made a huge dent in it, but we're getting there. Okay, gonna do some Chinese now. Nei. Nei. Man. Yen. Yo. 5. Ducks are drinking wine. Bangvas, okay, Bangvas is duck. Okay, I have now leveled up. Let's see what the XP situation is now. 10,340 out of 12,500. And as always, viewers can choose my next language for me just with a follow and a $5 to my Patreon. Sotto le frasche del capanno 4 gatti grossi stanno. Sotto 4 grossi sassi, 4 grossi e grassi gatti. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Facile. Sì, ecco, la gente... è la cosa che mi dice la gente, sempre che scoprisce che quante lingue parlo. Io sempre avevo l'impressione, diciamo, di che non era così, non era tan così, ma poi dopo di aver visto qualche poliglota in YouTube, una delle cose che avevo scoperte era giustamente che la metodologia usata da quella gente poliglota che non avevo mai conosciuta prima, era più o meno la stessa metodologia che usavo io. I buy a computer or what? And here's another example. I like to point these out. For this word for or, what sounds vaguely like Hogun and the hok in Hogun in Korean or Waku in Japanese, and that's because it is the exact same Chinese character.
Okay, let me see.
Un chasseur, sachant chasser, ses chassés sont son chien de chasse.
Der dicke Dach.
Okay, der dicke Dachdecker deckt dir dein Dach, drum dank dem dicken Dachdecker, dass der dicke Dachdecker dir dein Dach deckt. Hola y bienvenidos al directo de Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. Yo soy Elisa, traductora, escritora y editora y comunicadora social con más de 20 idiomas de trabajo. Y aquí vamos a estar jugando videojuegos, sobre todo GeoGuessr, y hablando de idioma, la mejor forma de aprenderlo y caleta más. Zwei Zwetschgenzweigen zwitscherten zwei tschechische Schwalben. Tres tristes tigres tragaban trigo en un trigal en tres tristes trastos. Oh, I see. This is Diche Ishai Fui, which means do you want food? But yeah, are you hungry? That kind of thing. How are the boys? Cine da boy. Posso Milao. Pote. Buenese. Proteine. And I'm back. And I just, on the break, saw some amazing news. I don't know if, chat, you're following the Filton 24, if you know who I'm talking about there.
But, okay, 24 people associated with the Direct Action Group Palestine Action got arrested in connection with an action that was done in Filton, which is a Bristol suburb, which is known for two things. One, if you take the train from Bristol to Bristol, it's where you know to get your stuff ready, because the next stop's going to be Bristol. The other thing is lots of arms manufacturers, including Israeli arms manufacturers, involved in the genocide in Palestine. So these comrades went and they did what they do, which is to fuck their shit up and make it a little bit harder for them to do genocide. And they got arrested, they got charged with all sorts of bullshit, and the government just decided, apparently, just assuming they probably were not going to get convicted, that they were going to make them serve their sentence before trial by just dragging it out for as long as possible. And they went on a hunger strike, they almost died, the government was just willing to let them die if they didn't, rather than follow, meet basic demands, nothing that really, that was anything that they should have, everything that they were demanding was just a matter of course, like a fair trial, like not censoring all their correspondence, like bail, because their charges were just like burglary and criminal damage, which is nothing, and also, like, they really should not have been locked up for it at all, because they were acting against genocide, and it's legal to act against genocide. But anyway, so they're free. Most of them, if not all of them, are free now. There are no convictions. They finally were brought to trial, and the government couldn't get a single fucking conviction. The Filton 24. They've been locked up, awaiting trial for, like, I think these 2 years now. But but at least most of them, if not all of them, are out now, because the government finally brought them to trial and they couldn't get any convictions, because, I mean, obviously, they did the right thing. And juries in Britain know that they did the right thing, which is why the government has been trying to get rid of juries. Because, I mean, that's just a newfangled woke thing, having juries. I mean, that's the Magna Carta. That's woke gone mad. Or something. But anyway, they're out. So, like, fucking results. Amazing news. Just thought I'd mention that before we resume with some more chess, and I'm having shortbread.
Vendo ensalada de fruta, vendo jugo, vendo multivitamínico. Ensalada de fruta, vendo jugo, vendo multivitamínico. Hola, amigo. ¿Cómo andas, Charlie?
Perfecto, lo de siempre.
Dale.
Mátamelo.
Otra vez, Charlie, siempre lo mismo.
Toma, ¿estoy con la gafa?
Bueno, está bien. Vendo ensalada de
A DPRK flag. You don't see that very often on chess.com. And a Kim Jong-un picture. I like how they have the DPRK flag, just in case, at some point. Yeah, well, they're getting rid of juries, except for, well, in most cases, like, other than the most serious charges. Oh, fuck off, YouTube. Oh, nice. Now I can really pin this knight, because there's no pawn that can threaten my...
Oh, fuck. That wasn't great. Yeah, I mean, it's so simple, and yet, I mean, it's Keir Starmer, and he just likes to suck. He is, I mean, it's really quite impressive how just he has managed to be easily the worst prime minister that Britain has had in like these 15 years. And it's not even close. Like, you can't even argue, like, vote Labour to keep reform out or anything like that, which is usually the argument, reform being the, like, the fashy, shitty, party of Nigel Farage. You can't even really argue it on those grounds because they're already doing the shit that Nigel Farage would do. Like, literally, they're already doing all of that shit. I mean, they are just really impressively suck. Ooh, thank you. It's always nice when somebody makes up for my little mess-ups there. Yeah, I mean, Ireland has a fair bit to recommend it. I mean, their government sucks shit too, but not quite this bad. Ooh. I was really worried about that one. Because I'd just given up my queen for nothing. Huge general strike in Argentina yesterday because speaking of just horrible fucking governments, the Milei government are basically trying to take labor rights there back to the 19th century, and everybody was out.
Y la mano firme de los que luchamos contra los discursos, contra las caretas, porque sus negocios nos mandan al tacho.
I do love a tango.
Fíjate bien, no seas otario, la mano es para dar pelea o alcanzarle la pelea al cura o a tu patrón.
Okay, this is actually kind of irritating. Oh, well, the government, okay, I mean, it's this right-wing shithead government of Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, and, like, they're viciously anti-immigrant, and, like, everything they do is just for the fucking property developers. So, they've just managed to make the place very expensive to live in. I mean, the thing about the Irish ruling class is that they are actually sort of embarrassed to have a country. They're constantly acting, like, apologetic to Britain for having, like, regained their independence, even partially. Yeah, I mean, it's the same bullshit everywhere, it's just different versions. I will say Ireland still has way more to recommend than Britain does. Like, they're not in, like, a war against trans people, for example, which is nice. And I have to say, I mean, one of the really nice things about Ireland is that the people there don't have like a fight. So I have like a little bit more confidence that they will be able to defend themselves against this bullshit than a lot of other people, than like a lot of places. And when it comes to like Palestinian rights, I mean, it is easily the most pro-Palestine place in all of Europe. Basically everybody supports Palestinian rights, so there's not a whole lot. I mean, you can't get the same level of sort of persecution of Palestinian solidarity activism in Ireland that you can get other places, which is a definite advantage. Oh, well. That did not go very well. I think we'll get one more game in there. And then we will switch over and look at some vid. Sudmannen. Oh, Spain definitely has things to recommend it. Ooh, thank you. I mean, I guess they could do what they're trying to do here by going here, and then I just take, and I don't really see what they get out of that, but at this point,
Voy a la cocina, luego al comedor, miro la revista y el televisor, me muevo para aquí, me muevo para allá, Norma Pla a caballo lo tiene que matar, me vienen con chorizo pero ya va a llegar, que cocinen a la madre de caballo o al papá o a los hijos, si es que tiene a su amigo el presidente no le deje ni los dientes porque Menem se lo gana y no hablemos de pavadas si son todos traficantes y si no el sistema que no me digas se mantiene con la plata de los pobres, eso solo sirve para mantener a algunos pocos, ellos transan, ellos venden, es solo una figurita y que esté de presidente, si estaba Alfonsín el que vende esos toques son todos narcos, de los malos, si te agarran con un gran
I mean, I think the move that's going to be played here is that, but that doesn't really solve.
la balanza, el precio también sube la venganza, ahora que son todos narcos y el presidente es el tipo que mantenga más tranquila a nuestra gente, llega plata del lavado, mientras no salte la bronca del norte no mandan palo, ay ay ay, uy, ¿qué me dicen del dedito que le meten en Jujuy, ay ay ay, uy, ¿qué me dicen del dedito que le meten en Jujuy? Si no lo pueden voltear, lo van a querer comprar y con discurso. Si no les sale, son capaces de dar acciones de los grandes mercadales. Eso no importa, porque el perro va dejando algún perrito que le mete a este sistema el dedito en el culito. Y como sangra, no es un culo. Si no hay que ser ni ser, entonces el gran culo de este mundo, yo soy el muro. Estalinista, los demócratas de mierda y los forros pacifistas son todos narcos, traficantes te transmiten por cadenas, son de caos, paranoiquean, te persiguen si sos puto, te persiguen si sos pobre, te persiguen si fumas, tomas y vendes, si compras un pobre tonto que lo hace para comer. ¿Y ahora qué? ¿Qué nos queda? Elecciones de elección para mí la misma mierda, hijo de puta, en el Congreso, hijo de puta en la rosada y en todos los ministerios van cayendo, hijo de puta, que te cagan a patada. Tienen el poder y lo van a perder. 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 Ellos tienen el poder y lo van a perder. Tienen el poder y lo van a perder. Ellos tienen el poder y lo van a perder. Porque en la selva se escuchan tiros. Son las armas de los pobres. Son los gritos del latino en la selva. Se escuchan tiros. Son las armas de los pobres. Son los gritos del latino en la selva. Se escuchan tiros. Son las armas de los pobres. Los gritos del latino en la selva. Se escuchan tiros. Son las armas de los pobres. Son los gritos del latino.
Yeah, the knights are very handy. Because they're tricky little bastards.
Habla para todo el país, de todos los argentinos. La doctora
Hey, Ata, how you doing?
además que llevan bandera, que estudia, qué maravilla ver a nuestros estudiantes secundarios con su computadora. Muchas gracias por cuidar la patria.
Menos mal que este gobierno nacional y popular es de izquierda y progresista. Si no, ¿cómo entenderá que la señora Legrand es una vieja fascista? Menos mal que está Cristina para ponerle las pilas
A los patrones
Si no, ¿cómo entenderá que la unión industrial
no son ladrones. Oh, I'm not bad. Okay, I could trade my queen. I don't think I want to trade my queen though.
Cristina me pude dar cuenta que está lleno de gorila la oficina. Gracias a Cristina cuando voy al baño lo busco en la tina y sin querer lo miro atrás de la cortina. Y para no hacerle juego a la derecha pinto de gorilas a los activistas. Veo jubilados quebrando al Estado y a trabajadores contra los moyanos. Veo gorilas.
Esto es una porquería. Más que, ¿qué es esto? Miren lo que es, miren lo que es. No dice nada. Yo le dije, bueno, ¿qué querés que diga? La Argentina, muchacho. Usted no sabe del país que tenemos. Por Dios, argentinos y argentinas, yo soy tan feliz. Pero volver a decirle que estoy ahí con todos ustedes.
Pero en la comisaría no veo gorilas, ni asesino ni tortura. Ni a Julia López, ni a Luciano Arruga. Podría darme cuenta que todos continúan los mismos delitos de la dictadura. Pero la televisión del todo no me ayuda. Prefiero saber que tiene negativo a darme cuenta que el intento era aparato represivo. En los sindicatos no veo gorilas, ni asesinos ni matones.
Ah. What kind of dog do you have?
Los burócratas empresarios que explotan a tercerizados. Los nenes del comisario con el crimen organizado. Zona liberada para barra brava, muchas veces contratada por el mismo Estado. Y el gobierno que hace miga con la mafia más podrida. Menos mal que está Cristina que me anula la retina. Trabajador, explotador, jubilación, miserias dan, la propaganda y el doble discurso. Que siga el show y que más da, si todo se puede tapar, si se cobra una vida más, este modelo nacional. Mariano fue un luchador, un carudo, un charrito, porque sabía que eso era lo justo. Por eso hoy hay que seguir, no queda opción ni oposición, más que manifestarse ya, más que manifestarse ya.
I think I got made in a second. Not as much meat as I thought I had. Oh fuck! I can't believe I just did that.
En la ventana de una celda oscura, donde marchan presos a la tortura.
Oh, that could have been worse. That could have been considerably worse.
De lugar jodido para andar criando un crío. Qué canto sombrío tenderán los pichones, canten lo que canten, tenderán sus razones. No lo entiendo al pajarito pudiendo estar en el río y anidar entre las flores. Se instaló en la tumba donde retumban gritos desgarradores. En la ventana de una celda oscura se hizo un nidito trayendo basura, boletos de colectivo. Acá hay gente que hace años no pisa un estribo. Qué bicho atrevido son estos gorriones, no le importa nada la angustia del hombre y cada mañana lo despierta una picana desde la oscura ventana. A esas almas encerradas en la cara le refriega las alas y vuela. Trae cosita de afuera, un flyer trucho que toca gratis la renga y vuela. Trae cositas de afuera que tocan juntos, Sky y el indio en Varela.
I've never heard of a mortuary dog.
Pasa que al gorrión no le importa el sufrimiento humano. Ha visto a tantos hombres enjaular a sus hermanos y cada mañana lo despierta una picana y junta migas de pan en las oscuras ventanas. Y esas almas encerradas en la cara les refriega las alas. Les refriega las alas a esas almas encerradas. No lo entiendo al pajarito pudiendo estar en el río
Ah.
y anidar entre las flores. Se instaló en la tumba donde retumban gritos desgarradores. Vuela, trae cositas de afuera,
Oh, wait.
un flyer trucho que toca gratis la renga. Vuela, trae cositas de afuera que tocan juntos. Cae el indio en Varela, abre la vela, pero con flema y toca flema. Si estás en
I think I'm probably gonna end up winning this on time if I win it.
de paja, de droga, de minas en bola. Agarré para el lado la poesía social. Una cosa es romancero que la revoluciona y otra cosa es militar, volantar, piquetear, mantener una reunión con contacto semanal, pero eso es tipo de verdad. Soy un hijo de mi puta madre, por estar con mi familia y ser un buen papá, pero el resto me la paso yendo a pescar y me olvido de comprar pescado, que a la semana vuelvo a casa, todo mamado, eso sí, nunca engaño a mi mujer. No tengo amante,
Okay, if I can win this on time, it'll be ridiculous.
no sé qué haría. Si se me parara, si la tuviese grande.
Yeah. Bollocks. Well, there we go. I was close. Okay, time to switch over. And for anyone who enjoyed that music, that was La Mano de Filippi. Great band from Argentina. And I'm going to drop you a link where you can find that mix on YouTube. And now we are going to switch over. See what we got in the world of language-related stuff. And I'm kind of curious. Something showed up in my feed. This is from the Polyglot Conference from 2015, so a while back now. Called The Groundbreaking Science of Forensic Linguistics, which is kind of, that's a language-related thing, and I'm curious about it, and perhaps we can learn something interesting. So, let me see, gotta get my thing here, chat widget where I can see it so I can full screen this stuff. Oh, hey Brian, how you doing? Okay, language analysis for OSINT investigations. Oh, no, that's not the one, that's not the one, that's not the one. I mean, that also is probably interesting, but that wasn't the one I was going for just now. Okay, here we go. This is Rob Leonard, who I'm not familiar with. But this is a talk from the Polyglot Conference 10 years ago. Gonna drop the link in chat. Anyone wants to see the whole thing? And I am just quite curious about this concept. Oh, that sucks.
Yes, am I live here? Can you hear me? As I'm very fond of saying, I'm one of the very few people in the world who has worked with both the FBI and the Grateful Dead.
I didn't know that I'd brag
It was
about that
actually,
first one, but
quite a
okay.
difficult thing for me to decide to work with the FBI back when I started, because I went from having a folder on me to working with them, and but I worked with the Behavioral Analysis Unit, and they are the folks that are made famous by Criminal Minds. As a matter of fact, my FBI partner is the technical advisor for that, and I got involved with some of their cases, and especially the unit that deals with serial sex crimes against children. So during the Bush administration, went and testified before Congress to complain about the treatment of interrogatees at Guantanamo during the Bush administration. And they complained about the terrible things that the military and the CIA were doing.
I mean, okay, just in case, let's just have a little bit of content warning, because if he goes into any detail about that stuff, it is deeply, deeply fucked up, and it is still going on.
The FBI had been there interrogating the Guantanamo prisoners before, and they were not pulling out their fingernails or waterboard.
Let's skip. I'm curious about the forensic linguistics aspect of it. Perhaps let's not necessarily the detailed descriptions of torture.
Legal qualifications, and I'll talk about that, but this being a polyglot conference, I was born into a Spanish-speaking neighborhood in Brooklyn. Matter of fact, I was the only English speaker in my first grade class. One of the first phrases I learned, because the teacher only spoke English, there were no bilingual...
I mean, interesting language, like, bio here. So... wait. What does he mean one language is not Swahili? Oh, well, he did eventually. Okay, interesting. Other Bantu, I wonder which ones. And then Thai. Okay, that's a very diverse array. I always like that when somebody goes and, like, just almost sort of picks up random families of languages. Thai, Swahili, other Bantu. I wonder if that's isiZulu or isiXhosa or one of them. Or, I mean, there's so many Bantu languages. It's a huge number of them.
School aides. It was just an English-speaking teacher, me, and 20 Puerto Rican kids. So one of the first phrases I learned was "Que dijo la bruja?" You know, and I didn't
What did
know
the witch
that meant
say?
either. It means, you know, what did the witch say now? So I studied Spanish and French in college. I managed a panaderia reposteria in San Juan.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he has a very Puerto Rican accent as well. You can tell that he was immersed in Puerto Rican Spanish, which is like one of the most distinctive variants of Spanish out there, and that nobody else understands. In fact, that was the joke. I was seeing memes of friends of mine in South America. Yeah, remember there was a whole thing, right, where he was complaining about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl or whatever. And he's like, you can't understand any of it. And so the meme that was going around in South America was, Los gringos, you can't understand a word that Bad Bunny is saying. Los latinos, no entendemos ni una palabra de lo que está diciendo Bad Bunny. Yeah, Puerto Rico.
Barely speaks
Oh, yeah, okay, I'll turn him up.
Spanish now because I studied Swahili so long. And in the middle of all this, I discovered linguistics. I mean, many of us are polyglots because we love language. What better also to study linguistics with...
I mean, I think I'm going to skip over a little bit more because I'm interested in the content, the concept of forensic linguistics and what the deal with that is. But, I mean, he sounds like he's got an interesting background in any case. Okay, the Forensic Linguistics Capital Case Innocence Project? Okay, that sounds really fucking cool. Wonder if they need somebody with what I can do.
They never wrote that confession that put them in a consulting group. And something we're extremely proud of, I kept getting letters from prisoners asking me, could I help them? They never wrote that confession that put them in jail. They didn't write the text that the police say they did and put them on death row. I was just
Interesting.
in Waco, Texas, a couple of months ago on a case like that. The original Innocence Project from Yeshiva Law School mostly does DNA, but nobody was doing language evidence. So I felt hopelessly unable to navigate appeals, so I teamed up with a great...
Yeah, appellate law is a whole area in itself, and it is arcane. It is absolutely... It is for, like, the most autistic of lawyers, because it's all these very extremely detailed things that are just that are on a certain level complete bullshit, because it's about maintaining the finality of judgments sometimes, even when that means that somebody who didn't do it still just has to spend their life in prison anyway. It is all these layers of argumentation that you have to get to before you can actually get to the thing that you actually wanted to argue about. And I will say, appellate law is an area of interest of mine. So what I'm saying,
professor, a constitutional law guy named Eric Friedman at Hofstra, and now we have an ongoing forensic linguistics capital case. Mostly we'll give, of course, first call to people who are actually on death row right now.
I mean, okay, that's something I wouldn't mind getting involved in.
So forensic linguistics is a combination of two words that nobody knows what they mean. It's really great. And we're not only forensic, we really do all sorts of legal stuff, but it became known as forensic. So it's the application of linguistics to these things.
Oh, okay, like literally, this is what I do as a translator, but doing it just using it for a slightly different purpose. The application of scientific linguistic scholarship to forensic analysis of letters, emails, notes, text, blog post, trademarks, patents, contract. I mean, yeah.
What, you might ask yourself, in the law is not language? You testify, you have decisions, you supposedly confess, you're interrogated, all with language. And yet people don't analyze it scientifically.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do.
Okay,
So we help people who are not linguists to gain the maximum intelligence. Expert witnesses, their task, as opposed to fact witnesses, are to help the trier of fact, the judge, jury, whatever, to interpret the evidence before them.
Yeah.
If they're not experts in fingerprints or DNA, an expert comes and explains.
Okay. I'm going to skip ahead because I want to get into the nitty-gritty of this. This sounds really fucking interesting to me, and I want to hear details, okay? Expanding audience for forensic linguistics training. Okay, but I want to, like, let's see. Turkey and Turkmenistan. Okay, recent civil cases. Oh, well, okay. It would be things like, for example, let's say he gave this example of a guy who wrote in, who was in prison and said he never wrote the confession. Or he never wrote a text message that was used to convict him. Well, so one of the things that, like, forensic linguists would do is analyze that and analyze the, samples of the kind of language that the person who's supposed to have written the thing uses. See if there are characteristic things that indicate that this is something that they could have written or this is something they probably didn't write.
An English contract between Turkey and Turkmenistan brought me to Paris to testify in front of the World Bank. I was Apple's expert against Microsoft.
Female.
And Amazon.
And hello, Avinash Creates. We're looking at, we're talking about forensic linguistics.
Some criminal, counterterrorism, intelligence cases. This is, again, just in the past 2 years.
I mean, it sounds a little bit like, defense purposes as in legal defense, for example?
Look at the second to the bottom. Perjury and other language crimes. That's what Roger Shy, the greatest of forensic linguists in the United States, and my mentor, they wrote a great book called Language Crimes. Realize that there are so many crimes that you can commit by uttering language.
Actually, when he puts it this way, there was an appeal. I mean, it's a funny story because it wasn't an appeal I was involved in. Somebody I knew got convicted of essentially libeling a cop in Germany. Yeah, where there is criminal libel. And it was based on an interview she gave about this person. And essentially they had decided, the court in the first instance had decided, and the prosecution had insisted, that what she'd said was a hard statement of fact, that as opposed to an assessment of the general relationship between media narratives and individual behavior. Well, we're all finding out about it. Basically, it is about analyzing language for example, I mean, there was an example I just gave, and that he just gave, this guy we're looking at, Robert Leonard. Yeah, source criticism. It is a form of source criticism, in fact. So, for example, let's say you have a document that is supposedly a confession. You analyze, but the person who is supposedly confessed, the person who supposedly wrote this confession, they say they didn't write it. They say these aren't their words. So one example of forensic linguistics is you would get an idea of what their words are like, understand how they talk, how they write, and compare that to this document that they are supposed to have signed. And see if it matches, or if this sounds like it was written by a completely different person. Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely this is an area of source criticism, and when I'm analyzing sources of various sorts, it is definitely something that I do. I'd never heard really of forensic linguistics specifically, but I mean, it is very much the sort of thing.
Perjury, solicitation of murder, attempted bribery. Very, very interesting. And how are these analyzed in the courts? Well, not
Badly.
scientifically. So we...
Where are you joining us from, Avinash Creates?
We've developed many, many methods of dispassionately analyzing them.
I'm a translator, and a writer, and a researcher, and an editor, and I also do YouTubing. For example, now.
FBI partner and I, as we would do training, we always said language can solve and prevent crimes. And every time
आपको हिंदी आती है?
we would give a presentation or training to agents or detectives, somebody would come out of the audience and say, could you guys look at these letters we found at the scene of the crime? It never occurred to us. They might be able to be helpful.
Yeah, okay, so analysis can help identify nationality, native language, occupation, training, yeah, very true. I mean, one thing I've often found when analyzing language is you could often tell exactly the sort of places, the sort of online communities that people hang out in, the sort of groups people hang out with. You hear certain buzzwords. Tori boleti hu. Tori sort of. You hear certain buzzwords people use, and it tells you, okay, then they are in-group, out-group signifiers. In other words, certain communities use these words and certain communities don't. Or they're very specific. Like, for example, I don't know, if somebody's talking about SJWs, for example, and or something, you can be pretty sure what communities they're hanging out in, because it's a very specific group of people who complain about SJWs, for example. And now, if somebody's talking about, like, uses as a metaphor, oh, he was totally caught, he was totally LBW on that one. Well, you know they like cricket, because LBW is a way of getting out in cricket. And that might be significant if this is not a person, this is not a person you would expect to be into cricket. They're not from a cricketing place, for example.
So,
I mean, and this is also something you can obfuscate. If you get conscious about it, you can play with it. Yeah, you sort of mess around with perceptions. If you don't want, for some reason, to give away too much about who you are or where you're coming from or whatever, you can watch for these sorts of things and use things that sort of misdirect a little bit, use things that sort of avoid things that are too extremely specific. That could, because sometimes people will say shit and it narrows them down to very specific ways.
in our intelligence gathering,
Like, there are probably language-related tells that people develop just from spending time around me, because I have like, my speaking in English in particular is very specific in some ways, because if you listen to me long enough, you know I've spent time in Britain, I've spent time in Ireland, I've spent time in the US, and I have all these other languages, and they kind of interfere and influence my language as well. Kind of like code switching, but it's more personally specific, you could say. It's not so much between languages as it is between sociolects. Like, because certain social groups have certain ways of talking. You know, like, and I'm not talking about just like sort of, you know, socioeconomic groups. I'm talking about things like if you are in a creepypasta group on Wattpad. I don't know if Wattpad has groups. They definitely have creepypasta. I know that from Jenny Nicholson, who's wonderful. Love her videos. And I've learned a lot about weird-ass internet subcultures from them, and the reviews people do on fake spiders on Amazon. But, like, those sorts of subcultures have them. Oh! Well, I will be back tomorrow, same time. Have a good night. Namaskar.
and this again won't be a surprise to you all, we can help identify all these characteristics of the person who wrote or spoke. And what we can do is narrow the suspect pool, whether it's corporate intelligence, whether it's counterintelligence. Very, very useful.
Yeah, okay. Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business, but not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, and... Oh, thank you. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed this dream, and I hope you come back sometime. Okay, the first thing I notice is they have not bothered to disguise their handwriting as much, very much at all. Very distinctive there. That the way those A's are done are interesting. You don't see that kind of A very much in North America. The numbers, the first thing that jumps out to me there, I mean, those are very North American style numbers, though. Numerals. Interesting.
That's the JonBenet Ramsey case, which I actually got dragged into when a guy named Carr came out of Thailand and claimed to have been involved with the little girl's death. And I analyzed the ransom note, I analyzed his language, and I said,
holy shit. He's been in some heavy shit.
Connection. Everybody went berserk. The people who hired me begged me to say that there was a connection. Handwriting experts said there was a connection. And then the DNA came, and there was no connection. He was just trying to get out of Thailand one step ahead of the cops.
Oh, well, have L's and R's together. Oh, actually, is it the fact that there's a consonant before the R that's getting you?
And the Boulder police and DA helped him. All right, this is a very famous case within forensic linguistics, which means it's not famous at all, but there's a well-known example for aficionados, and not only are we going to look at what is always looked at, because it's all over the web, but some other stuff. This is just a little sample menu of the kinds of things that we need to look at when we analyze. But the most important one is the bottom one.
Insistent patterns may review... interesting, yes. Somebody who's trying to sound like they're... to sound a particular way, yeah.
Like most linguistic analyses, when we are dealing with ransom notes or anything that somebody might not willingly write his own name on the bottom, we're going to have to expect disinformation. So this is my transcription from a crumpled up piece of, brown paper.
Okay, let's see. We have inconsistent use of C's and K's. Cops are spelled with a K. Okay, this sounds like somebody is deliberately trying to sound like they spell worse than they actually do. Because Precious is spelled right, but daughter is spelled D-A-U-T-T-E-R? Yeah, no, I'm not buying that. Somebody who can spell precious correctly.
Bag. This is what the ransom note was written on. So what do we see here instantly? Come on. A lot of misspellings. And what are the misspellings? K's for C's. So
inconsistent K's for C's. No cops with a K, but come alone with a C. Cash with a C. Can with a K. And anyone who has trouble spelling can is not going to spell precious correctly, I don't think.
Competing hypotheses. Maybe the guy's underlying language always uses K's instead of C's. Oh, but wait a minute, then there's Carlson, there's Cash. So what's going on, you see? What are some other irregularities or non-standardisms that you see? Daughter's misspelled. What else is misspelled? What? Yeah, right.
Wait, okay, so 10,000 has a comma in it. Now, if that's... okay. Oh, you're a chess streamer. Cool. Well, if that is what I do for like the first hour and a half on my stream. So if you come earlier, around 4:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time tomorrow, there will be chess. I actually had a pretty good chess day.
So there's a lot that, okay. But what is spelled correctly?
I mean, that comma in the 10,000 strikes me as interesting here in terms of, like, this attempt to seem kind of illiterate. Because I feel like somebody who can't spell daughter is probably also going to not necessarily put that comma in the right place. Also, wow, that's how long ago this was that somebody would do a fucking ransom for 10 grand.
Well, okay, well, this is America, so it makes sense. Right, but very good. That's exactly the kind of detail that we look for. And hold on, because the next few slides, after this example, we're going to get into that kind of thing. Precious. I can't spell precious. So this is somebody who can spell precious, okay? Now, what else? What else is telling us that maybe this is not somebody who can't even spell cops?
I mean, sometimes, well, not so much in English, though. In Spanish, there is a whole thing, and Italian, too. You'll hear amongst, like, anarchists will occasionally, like, put K's where anytime there's a K sound and it's not a misspelling, it's, like, it makes it, it's just a characteristic spelling, but it's not a thing in English.
Yeah, but that I might have masked when I did the transcription, but very, very good. And at these stages, there is no detail that is not going to be useful, because what happens is we're profiling now, narrowing the suspect pool, and then if there is a suspect, we will have all these things ready to compare to exemplars. Yes?
Put it in the trash can, put it in, it's like, instead of all these other expletives, just do it.
Okay, right, okay. Diaper, what else, guys? Devil strip. See, you're all good readers.
What the hell is a devil strip? Is that like a Western thing? I've never heard of a devil strip.
And that's why you didn't notice devil strip, because devil strip didn't mean anything to you. It's not an oversight. It shows that you know how to read, because the better reader you are, you are more trained to ignore instantly. I mean, you know, he had a while to look at this. It did only take him a minute, but usually it doesn't.
Hey, Riveroon. Here's a question we're pondering now. What the fuck is a devil strip?
And you're going fast, so you don't see devil strip. So what is devil strip?
Part of the grass between the...
Oh, go away. You're from Akron.
Wait. Yeah, I noticed it, but I wasn't sure what the hell. I thought that might be the name of a business or something. No parking on Devil Strip. Well, like, where the hell did you get that name for it, though?
Exactly.
That is an Akron thing. Oh wow, that is interesting. So, why the hell does Akron have a word for that and nobody else does? Like, what? That is one of the things that gets me about these sorts of things that are really regionally specific. Like, why in Akron? This is a presentation. I'll drop the link in chat because we're not going to get to look at too much more of it. But it's quite interesting. It's from the Polyglot Conference like 11 years ago on forensic linguistics.
All right. So Roger Shy, my mentor, right?
Is that true?
It's true. So Roger takes a look at this. Now, they're used to us taking 5 weeks. You know, the thing I gave you guys, the handout, it took us 5 weeks. You're going to get 5 minutes. But so Roger looks at it and almost instantly says, do you have on your suspect list a well-educated person from Akron, Ohio?
Okay. And, of course, if you're trying to obfuscate, the first thing you think about is, okay, if you say Devil Strip, that's immediately giving Akron to anyone who tries to analyze it on this level.
And they said, oh, Roger, does he walk with a limp? Does he have a ripped left sleeve? You know, Sherlock Holmes, right? And he said, just look. We're hearing some little kid yell, Daddy. Having children myself, my ears perk up, right, from the old days. Okay, so what other markers were there right in front of your eyes that would have told us that this is not somebody who can't spell cops?
I mean, the fact that, the obvious thing is just that everything else, the spelling is overall quite good, even non-phonetic words. And the fact that they get the C right.
I always...
Oh, did you look it up, Brian, or do you, like, have Akron knowledge? I spent a weekend in Akron once, and that really did me.
I always use this when I'm training agents or defense lawyers, but mostly agents. It's that people aren't trained to analyze language. They're trained to use language.
Yeah.
And just like
this is true. I've noticed this too when I'm... thank you, Brian. Thank you for checking that out. I mean, I will occasionally point these sorts of things out when I'm like... Because I'm very attuned to these sorts of... to buzzwords of various sorts. I didn't know Devil Strip because I was not in Akron for long enough to realize that such a thing existed. Thankfully, God, I saw enough of Akron, actually, I think, to last me a lifetime. Oh, God. But other things, there are all sorts of other tells, and I pick up on that shit immediately. I'm very attuned to that sort of thing, and other people just look like, what?
Just reading it means we ignore stuff. We take the lowest hanging fruit, we assume people are cooperating with us, and bang, we go off to the races. But linguists have to slow down and try to peel off, even though it's right in front of us. Yes.
Do you ever wonder something?
Yes, it reads very nicely. And what?
There is coherence, there is cohesion, which is not usual.
Okay. Skipping
Yeah,
ahead.
you know, and you figure James Bond is going to
Oh yeah, the punctuation is good.
fly in, but it doesn't happen. But here it does. All right. Thank you. Okay. Punctuation. Look at the punctuation. It's perfect.
That's right.
It's perfect. See, again, that was something Roger noticed instantly, too. Good.
Oh yeah, French punctuation is very is very specific because it does this thing where there's a space before stuff.
More punctuation. Take a look at that, guys. Is this writer likely a L1 speaker of English or French? English, why?
Because you don't have the spaces.
That's true, but there's other things that might be run counter to that.
I would say
Okay, now I have to look over because it seemed like a native English speaker to me. Okay. On the Devil's, at corner 18th and Carlson. Okay, so we're leaving out articles. That does not get. That just seems like somebody who's in a hurry, to me, more than anything. Don't bring anybody along. Come alone. Watching you all the time. Da, 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 da. Anyone with you deals often. Daughter is. Yeah, I mean this. I don't see anything that immediately has to mean that somebody is not a native speaker of English. And in fact, the use of devil strip, which is so regionally specific apparently that there's no way you would learn that as a second language speaker. That is knowledge that would have to come from actually being there or specifically knowing it.
Punctuation. It's perfect.
Okay, yeah.
English, why?
because you don't have the spaces.
That's true, but there's other things that might be run counter to that.
I would say the apostrophes.
Well, now remember, again, I'm giving you guys 30 seconds, or not even, to look at this. Take a look. Read it to yourself. Who says, come on, the French pronunciation? The? In English, we'd say French pronunciation. We wouldn't say the French pronunciation, see? And also notice punctuations, which certainly isn't native.
Oh, this is a separate thing. I was like, wait a second, I don't remember. Okay. Yeah, the French punctuation. Yeah, okay, so we're asking about this particular thing. The French punctuation, space before punctuations marks. Punctuations marks is actually given German to me, not so much French. But, let me see, what time is it? Okay, it is time to wrap up for today. Thank you to everyone who joined in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you found it interesting, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. I was confused too. Here at Hyperpolyglotting with Elise.